guys, HYDRA coming at you today, Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. It's a big one today. It's Sun Wukong. That's right, the Monkey King from Chinese lore. Pretty dang cool champion. I'm still a massive fan. I put out a video on this dude a few days ago, but now I've had a couple days to kind of play test this champion. Moreover, HYDRA Clan Boss is open right now, so I will go ahead and execute a HYDRA attack in today's video as well as talk about a few different ways that you can build this champion depending on where you are in the game. All that and more in today's video. Man, that sounds so salesman-y. All that and more. Stay tuned. Some shout-outs here. We have user KY9 looking for a big question. As someone fairly new, 4 months. When he comes out, is it possible for you to do a video on his build, artifacts, masteries? Thanks. Love your vids. Absolutely. We have Trey Vito looking for a Sun Wukong. When I get my hands on him, I have my paws on this dude. Love your reply to player. Makes it great. Yes. Let's do it. Let's just get into it. Let's talk about this champion first of all. It's funny, I noticed that he's going up tier lists very subtly in the background. Some people who are not very keen, very high on this champion have upgraded his ranking. I've always been pretty high on this champion. The one thing I'll say about him is in terms of the late game, right, which probably only applies to a small segment of you guys watching right now, I think he's kind of one-dimensional for the most part, you know, can be a damage dealer in wave content, and can also a good control champion, for example, in some Doom Towers or Doom Tower secret rooms. Also, a beast in the arena, right? But everywhere else, for everybody else in the entire game, you can get some utility in so many different areas from this Monkey King. First of all, aesthetically, he's pretty cool. He splits in half. You guys, you know the animations. What do you guys think of this dude aesthetically? I think he's pretty cool looking. There's a champion skin for him as well. I actually like the original skin better. Maybe I'll feel differently, but I am not buying this skin. I think it's available. Oh, it's not even available. Is it available? Wait, shop. There it is. $15 to have him look a little bit worse, at least in my opinion. I don't know. Which one do you guys prefer? If you could just choose one and have to stick with it, I kind of like the classic on this champion. Usually I like the skins, but I like the classic. Anyway, what does this dude do? Before we get to that, his base stats. His attack, very healthy, almost 1,600. His HP, 16,000. And then his defense, almost 900. His speed, 105. So his attack above average, defense below average. HP, average to below average. And speed, maybe slightly above average, okay? On the A1, gotcha! It is a 75% stun if they're under any buffs, 50% stun if they're not under buffs. Now, this is a bookable, obviously, ability to get up to that. Otherwise, it's 25 and 50. It's a good control ability, a great control ability from his A1. On his A2, Staff of Wonder. This is a 3-turn cooldown when booked. I would advise most everybody book this champion out. I know that legendary skill tomes in this game are very, very tough to come by, but I do not think anybody will regret booking Sun Wukong. I do think personally that his overall versatility and utility in the mid-game, the early game progression, on top of his niche usage maybe, or maybe even more as time goes by, in the end game justifies him being a bookable champion for pretty much everybody. Staff of Wonder, I'll just say out the gate, was the ability that impressed me the most out of everything in his kit, but more on that in a bit. Attacks one enemy, 50% ignore defense, a 5 multiplier on this ability. We'll take a look at all his multipliers in just a moment. Will attack all remaining enemies with surplus damage if the target is killed. That attack will also ignore 50% of the target's defense. If the initial target survives, place a sheep debuff on them for 1 turn. This is the first champion in the game that can place the sheep debuff. I love it. It cannot be blocked. It can be resisted, meaning that we do need to build a lot of accuracy on this champion and maybe even set him up with an increased accuracy champion if you have one on the same team, or use an accuracy aura with this champion, depending on where you're utilizing him. More on that in a bit. So we talked about the sheep. Cannot be blocked means if they're under block debuffs. You know, there's a lot of champions in the game who have block debuffs, a Siphi, a Duchess, or the more meta popular ones, especially in the arena. It will still not be able to be blocked. They'll still get turned into a sheep. Moreover, Stone Skin, right? If they're under Stone Skin, if they're under, you know, you can still turn them into a sheep. You still have a chance to turn them into a sheep. Now you see us on the A3, attacks all enemies. Before attacking, steals all buffs from all enemies, and then places a block buffs on them for 2 turns. Sorry for the theatrics. All buffs from all enemies, all gone. This is an insanely good ability, guys. I talked about this on the main channel too, but there's nobody in the game who has a buff steal ability anywhere even close to this, you know? The closest comparison, right, is Samar Gemcurse, who's just an average champion overall. But he has an AoE on a 4-turn cooldown, stealing 2 random buffs before attacking, right? We're stealing all buffs, and then we're placing block buffs on a 3-turn, not a 4-turn, with a lot more damage on top of that, right? So, I mean, there's nothing else even comparable to any of these champions. I think we mentioned Scartorsus, his A1, 50% chance of stealing 1 buff from each enemy. Not all, 1. So when it comes to buff stealing, I mean, he is the creme de la creme in Raid Shadow Legends. So that's really cool as well. This passive is insanely good. It pushes him over the top. It is the proverbial cherry on our ice cream sundae, guys, that makes him like, okay, this is really good, right? It's unbeatable Wukong. Revives this champion with 100% HP and 100% turn meter 3 turns after they were killed. First of all, 3 turns goes by really fast. Turns are not rounds. I think new players sometimes confuse rounds and turns. Turns just mean that anybody does something, it counts as a turn, right? So Arbiter speed boosts, and then, you know, somebody uses their A1, and then the enemy, you know, uses their AoE attack, and boom, he's back in the fight. Not only is he in the fight, but he has 100% turn meter in full HP. He's just back and ready to go. That is really good, and it really compensates for how squishy this monkey is otherwise, right? He just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. He also brings speed in arena battles by 28%. So, I still have him in the build that, what is this, summer bundle? 100 more, no! No, I don't want your soul stones, man. But speaking of soul stones, let me give you guys I got this one, I forgot where I got it, 15,000 tournament points? I didn't realize we got that many from it. Okay, what is it? What is it? Ugh. By Stophus, 5-star, yay. I saw the legendary, and I got really excited on an Eternal. But you know what? We'll, I don't know. I don't even have him built, man. I don't even have Stophus built. What an underwhelming champion. Really quickly, I have not done a guide on him yet on the channel. By the way, this is the 200th guide going live on the channel. Thank you, guys. Thank you for sticking with me for 200 champion guides here. I appreciate you. Anyway, let me show you Stophus really quickly here. This dude, side tangent, feel free to fast forward, you know, a few seconds if you don't care. But this guy, man, oh, you don't, golly, come on. I can't see his full stats. I need to go into the index, right? But this guy, man, he is the most ridiculously 1800 base attack with no multipliers, dude. He hits like a wet noodle, man. Like, that's BS. Anyway, I digress. Sun Wukong, luckily, is not that. Speaking of multipliers, let me go ahead and take a look here. Hell Hades, they bumped his overall grade from a 3.5 to a 4. I saw that. They give him a 5 out of 5 in HYDRA, a 5 out of 5 in Doom Tower. They give him a 5 out of 5 in the arena. Let's see. And then other places, again, like I said, especially the end game, a little one-dimensional when we talk about hard mode dungeons and stuff like that, right? And that's the only real knock on this champion, but what he does so incredibly well. He has a 3.5 godlike damage rating on his A1. He has a 5 godlike damage rating on his A2. Now, normally a 5 multiplier you wouldn't get super excited about, but this dude has a 5 with a 50% ignore defense. What does that really mean? It means that we have a 5 multiplier on an ability with a built-in 50% ignore defense and surplus damage that can AoE everybody with a lethal set or a helm smasher set, plus, lethal or savage, plus helm smasher. We have a chance at ignoring 100% of enemy defense on an AoE, a la Baron, Skypiercer, you know? That's incredibly good. Granted, there are some mitigating, factors with the critical damage on the surplus, but it can still do a number. You guys will see that in today's video. 3.8 godlike damage rating on his A3. That I gave this comp in the other video too, but a good comp for that damage is a champion like Genzen. Where the heck is he? In front of my face? Am I this blind? Dude, Genzen. What? He's right. I'm blocking him on the screen. I'm like, where are you? This ability, Still Parting, is very similar in terms of how hard it hits, right? Quite different champions overall, but just give you guys a comp. Okay. let me go ahead and show you how I have him built out. I haven't changed much, but I will tell you guys other ways I would build this champion for other ways or for other areas in the game. So listen up. All right, so here he is. Sun Wukong. I have him in lethal in perception. Now, I think two other ways to build this champion. There's a lot of ways to build this champion, right? But two other ways that I would encourage you guys to consider is number one, building him in Relentless gear for HYDRA Clan Boss specifically, or for Doom Tower waves and for just wave content, right? So Relentless gear is definitely well suited for this champion. You can still run him in the arena and PvP environments as well. In Relentless is not going to hurt you so much. This build with lethal or savage gear, either is fine, will get the most damage, and this will result in being able to ignore 100% of defense potentially on that A2 ability. And that's when some really magical things start happening, okay, which you'll see again in this video. So I would prefer Relentless, lethal, savage, or just triple perception. Because as I said earlier, we want speed and we want accuracy on this champion. Perception has both of them. Perception gear is easy to forge. All you have to do is do your faction wars and fight in the arena every day. And you get perception material to forge, slap it on Sun Wukong. If you're just starting out, you don't have perception gear yet, go ahead and put accuracy gear or speed gear. They're two-piece sets. I've even seen some more unorthodox builds on this champion where Stone Skin, Stone Skin as kind of a nuker slash buff stealer. But the thing is we can already steal Stone Skin on that A3. So we build them fast enough with some accuracy, we could end up with Stone Skin anyway without having to build them in Stone Skin. So that's why I like this build, but hopefully you guys don't mind me spending an extra minute or two talking about all the ways you can build this champion. Especially just starting out on my free-to-play. I'm 1 day away, by the way, on the mini account of getting him. And I'll probably do a special budget new player guide on this champion on this channel as well, or on the main channel, Ash Raid Shadow Legends. I don't know if anybody watches me here and doesn't know about my other channel, but I digress. I'll have another one of early to mid game, like 200 days in, 300 days in, around that area. And I might run him in lifesteal in that situation. But TBD on that, you'll go ahead and take a look soon. Did I just tell you what you're going to do? You'll take a look soon. That's what you'll do. Anyway, masteries on this champion. An arena masteries here, right? Very basic, very basic. Nothing to spend a ton of time going over, except for we have a decision to make. Support or defense. As I said in the other video, I went defense because I really want retribution and deterrence for those counterattacks because A, it hits really hard, and B, it places a stun at a very dependable land rate clip, right? So I went defense and I went down retribution, chance to counterattack, deterrence, chance to counterattack. I went down offense as well. I went with ruthless ambush, cycle of violence. I came down to Helm Smasher to ignore more defense. I do think that for wave content where this champion really shines or PvP, Helm Smasher is the way to go, okay? I don't have blessings on this champion, but if I did, if I had him awakened, I would go with, personally, I would go with either Temporal Chains, that decreases enemy speed for each active buff. So basically what this is going to do is it buys me time to steal, before I steal their buffs, it's going to slow them down, right? And so I think there's a natural kind of synergy with Temporal Chains, which we're going to have high accuracy anyway on this champion, so no issues there. I think there's a good synergy with Temporal Chains and Sun Wukong. Additionally, if you're primarily using this champion for HYDRA Clan Boss, I think he's a very, very capable Brimstone champion to have on your account, okay? So those are the areas that I would go. I think that Lightning Cage is also a viable option, right? It's also going to improve his attack, crit damage, speed as we scale up. So those are some options. Of course, you could probably make a case, depending on the star level of your awakening, of picking up a Crushing Rend as well. So there's a lot of options, right? Even cruelty in PvE environments. So it depends on where you're using this champion. I even saw somebody using Soul Reap on this champion, right, in the arena. So that has a chance of placing a True Fear. It gives you extra attack, crit damage, and has the Grim Reaper come in and try to finish the job, right? So it really, again, depends. It depends. Take the time and read Masteries, especially for a new player watching this video. I know it's kind of a drag. It's so much easier just to copy stuff from the internet, from a YouTube video or whatever. But for me, the way that I actually started learning in this game is just taking a second. It doesn't take that long. Reading the blessing, thinking about where I'm going to use the champion, think about the team I'm going to be using around them, and then just going with, usually your intuition is going to be accurate. Same thing with Masteries, right? Sometimes you might miss stuff. That's why it's good to check out YouTube videos and you know, guides, Hell Hades and Ayumi Love and stuff like that. But oftentimes just reading and going through the thought process yourself, maybe even seeing if you came to the same conclusions, I think that's what helps you get better at this game. We went with accuracy on the banner, crit damage on the amulet. We have attack on the ring. We have speed on the boots. We have attack percentage on the chest, and we have crit damage on the gauntlets. So obviously these are pretty good pieces of gear. It's not the best on my account, but it's good, and I'm starting to ascend them as well and upgrade them, the artifacts, right? In the early game, I don't think you need to stress out. New players out there watching this video, you don't need to stress out trying to get crit damage on the gauntlets. Just go with crit rate on the gauntlets, and you'll be fine, right? In the early game, going with accuracy or perception sets, and just going crit rate on the gauntlets is totally fine, right? But you do need 100% crit rate on this champion. And you also need as much accuracy as you can get on him. Those are the biggest priorities. After that, speed and either attack or survivability, okay? I say survivability because we want him to be able to take a hit. You know, we don't want him dead all the time. However, I will give a quick caveat. The reason I think that even new players or mid-level players might want to consider just going attack and foregoing some of that survivability that is so important on 99.9% of champions in this game is because he's coming back to life anyway. 3 turns later, he's coming right back to life. So you can really make that strategic decision. You know what? I'll make him a little squishier. I'll go ahead and I'll push for more attack, more crit damage, and we'll make him squishy. And if he dies, I know he's coming back to life just 3 turns later anyway. Keep in mind, there is no cooldown on this passive. It's just straight up 3 turns later, and it just keeps repeating on and on and on. It's a really freaking cool passive. Let's go ahead and have a little bit of fun with this champion in the arena before we move over to HYDRA Clan Boss. Now, I'm not going to show you in today's video, but I showed you in the other video against Doom Tower floors, right? Doom Tower waves. Basically utilizing this champion against Siphi teams, against Valkyrie teams, Faction Wars, Doom Tower, other waves in other dungeons and various content in this game. You should think, as a Sun Wukong owner, anytime you're going against waves that have a lot of buffs, again, Siphis and Valkyries and Man-Eaters, right? You should think Sun Wukong, because he's going to steal them all, you know? So any situation like that, Doom Tower waves, Faction Wars, I just said it all, right? Use this champion. Use Sun Wukong, okay? So I had him in this team. I'm actually going to take Alika out, and I was just using Morrigan. I just maxed her out. I'm a real big fan of this champion. Anyway, it's a speed go first team. You'll notice that I'm running a champion called Yoshi the Drunkard on this team. He's bringing an increased accuracy buff. So I had what, 400-ish accuracy? It's actually around 600 plus masteries. Actually, I don't have any masteries, my bad. It's around 600 accuracy. So having an increased accuracy, Krasar Deepheart is a rare champion with the big version of increased accuracy on an AoE. So you could check him out as well. It's amazing. So look at the situation here. You get to decide. This is an easy team, first of all. I'll face harder teams going forward. But you get to decide with this champion. Okay, do I want to steal buffs? Well, there's nothing to steal here. So I don't really want to steal buffs, although I could probably just kill everybody. But guess what? This A2, I already said in the beginning that this was an incredibly underrated ability, dude. It's insane. I can kill anybody with this ability. I'm going to go after Mr. Drextar Blood Twin. Let's see if we can kill him. We do, and look at all that surplus damage. Not too bad, right? That was pretty dang good, you know? Now, they're all magic affinity, and it's not critical anyway. That's the A3, kills everybody, even on the weak hit. Probably a bad team. A, they're not very good, not very strong. Let's go against the speed team, see if we can win this speed race. I'm not sure. If we lose the speed race, we're probably not going to win the battle, but okay, we get it. We get it. All right, let's come in here and get that increased accuracy, get that increased speed. Again, we could steal the shield if we want to, but I'd rather kill somebody. I don't know about you guys. Who do you think's the squishy? We should aim for the squishiest on their team. I think it's probably Lord Shazar. Let's go ahead and pop him, and everybody's dead just like that. That's all that surplus damage. with the power of ignoring 50% defense or 100% defense, right? Wasn't that powerful? Let's go a little bit more of a formidable team here. And then we'll try to find like a good go second team, go up against a tankier team, like a Siffy type team, right? So we'll come in here. It doesn't matter where you are in the game, guys. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go after their squishiest champion again here. It's probably Jirigid. Yeah, let's pop him off. Boom. Not a lot of excess damage that time. But still, we got rid of their nuker. Bought us some time. We're looking great, right? I want to go against a squad where he's going to die so he can come back to life. That's the funnest part about this champion is bringing him back to life. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just a massive fan. All right, let's come in there. Let's go ahead and just go AoE here. Now we're going to see that A3, and they're going to be pretty much toast. Yep. Okay. So let me go ahead and find a squad before I take him into HYDRA, guys. Let me find a squad to really showcase. Hopefully he'll die. It's not something we say too often here on the channel. Hopefully he dies, guys. You do have to be careful. He's obviously Spirit Affinity, so going into Magic Affinities everywhere. So two things to be aware of when using this champion. Number one is there's a lot of Magic Affinity champions. You could be dealing with some weak hits, right? Number two is, and I mentioned this as well before, but it's cleansers, right? Now, they have a Siffy and a Valkyrie. Not a very high player power, but let's just see. Cleansers are going to remove his block buffs. We haven't really seen too much of his A3 yet. Let's go ahead and start out with the A3. We've been leading off with the A2 and getting that surplus damage. But let's go in this time. There's not much to steal here, but let's just go in anyway. Now, even though we weren't stealing any buffs, we're blocking everything. They have a Valkyrie with counterattack and shield. They have a Siffy with block debuffs, increased speed, increased defense. None of that matters because everything's blocked, you know? And that's the power of replacing it with block debuffs after the fact, right? So let's go ahead and go with the A2 here and see if we can pop off Arbiter and get some nice surplus here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How cool is that, man? You can't tell me this champion is not impressive. Let's go against a super tanky team here. Now, I just said to be careful against cleansers, namely, be careful against Marichka, Mithrala, and Pythion. Okay? Going against Mithrala here. Now, this is a perfect team to lead off with the A3 ability. Maybe we'll steal Stone Skin. Maybe not. She'll probably resist it. Because 600 accuracy, unfortunately, it's not going to be enough against Mithrala. Against Mithrala, we want 800, 900, 1,000 accuracy, right? Anyway, let's go in. So we removed, but we stole buffs, but he died. Oh no, he died. It doesn't matter. One turn. I'm not even going to revive here because I want him to self-revive. 2 turn and 3 turn. He's back. He's back in the game. Now, we're going to die to Candyman here, unfortunately. We don't have any survivability on this squad, so Candyman's going to go and smoke everybody, except for maybe Sun Wukong. But it's still freaking cool. The comeback to life with a full turn meter that soon after his death it's just a nasty ability. Let's go in on, I have no choice. I have to go in on Duchess here. And look at that, surplus damage. Really nice. Obviously, like I said, Candyman was going to blow us away there. So not the best squad, but you saw, importantly, him come back to life in that A2 again with 100% ignored. She was under an ally protect from Krisk on that one-shot kill on Duchess. And still able to take care of her on that. So, by the way, guys, look at this clan versus clan. Do you guys ever get into, I feel like such suckers to Plarium here. Shout out to Sin, Wicked, because we are neck and neck. I'm trying my best to help here. We get the Sick Anonymous, the Sick Anonymous, and Slap That Ash. But yeah, we are really close here, really close. Hey, isn't Sin, I guess they must have several clans, because I thought that there was a content creator in one of those clans. Maybe not. Anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and show off some HYDRA action here, guys. I do not have a HYDRA team set up with this champion, so let's just go ahead and I'm probably not going to keep the result. Let's go Brutal, and let's put him in. I'm not going to put him in the best team. Let's put him in our second best team. I think this is it. And who do I replace here, though? Yikes. I don't know. Let's put him in our third best team instead. It looks like it's more manageable. Take Lady Kimmy out, and then take Sun Wukong in. I'll be right back. Well, actually, let me show a little bit of it for you guys. So the value that he's bringing in HYDRA should be pretty obvious, but just to state the obvious is stealing buffs is incredibly. It's better than removing buffs. It's a step better. We're stealing everything instead. Block buffs is an instrumental buff to have on your team in HYDRA. I don't know how or why anybody goes into HYDRA battles, at least with their first team. You know, sometimes it's just because you don't have enough champions, right? Or you don't have the correct champions built or whatever. But on your best teams, at least, it should be one of the top priorities is to go in there and have a block buffs, right? So he has that and the buff steal. Plus, he has damage, right? So he's bringing quite a bit, you know, to the table there. You can see his damage even there was really good. Now, he's not going to hold the candle to Trunda. I want to be clear in that. His utility is coming half from the damage and half from the buff removal, right? So let's see what he does here. And you can see he's on the far left. I want him to go in. Unfortunately, they got the cleanse down. Let's see. What was that? That was his A. So he just burned his A3. But I say burn. It's still not a burn as long as we're placing the block buffs, right? Not too bad. Not too bad. He's going to go in A2 now. Let's just see how much damage he can put out in his A2. Granted, there's no debuffs. Well, only one. Maybe he'll go after the head of Blight. And he does. So not crazy damage there. But I'd be interested to see what kind of damage he can put out on a decapitated head with debuffs. On that A2 specifically with the ignore defense and stuff like that. Anyway, guys, we will let this team run for a bit, and I'll come back at you guys, and we'll see what we can do here. Now, I want to be clear one more time before I let you go for a moment that I would absolutely run him in Relentless Gear, again, for HYDRA Clan Boss. Depending on how that A2 goes, the A2 ability is that one with the excess damage or that surplus damage. Depending on how that goes, I could even see a world where some players, I need more playtesting to advise this, so don't take it as this is what you should do, just throwing out ideas against the wall and seeing, you know, what works. I would test out, and I'm going to test out eventually, running this champion in Reflex Gear. That was his A1, 150k against that decapitated head with no debuffs. That wasn't bad at all. Let's see what he can do on the A2 here. Let me see. Running him in, what I was trying to say is running him in Reflex and shutting off the A2. And just trying to go for basically keeping that, look at that, look at freaking Trunda. Good God. All right, here's his A2 against a decapitated head with no debuffs. Let's just go against this one right here so we have the good affinity. So it's 231k damage. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. But yeah. Running him in Reflex, if you shut off the A2, the cooldown's going to go right to that block buffs. And ostensibly, we can keep buffs off of all the HYDRA heads at the same time as keeping block buffs up there almost all the time with that Reflex continuously reducing the cooldown of that A3 and not interfering with the A2 because we're not using it. It's an interesting idea to test out. It's basically lock down, no buffs on HYDRA heads at any time, you know? So it's I would experiment with that. In fact, I'm going to. And again, if it works out for me, I'll definitely share that in kind of the more free-to-play friendly version of this champion. Be right back. All right, guys, so here we are. It's 31 minutes later, and I'd love to just keep this run going, but I have to pick up my kiddo. So, you know, I wanted to end the video sometime today. So here we go. I don't know what this team could score if I just let them run with it, but let's end the battle. And then maybe we'll free regroup tonight. But just to do a quick damage check, we're seeing Sun Wukong put out a decent amount of damage, but nothing too crazy. As I said, what he's bringing to the table really is the block buffs on that AoE, the buff removal as well, which he stole a lot of buffs throughout the duration of that longer battle. Now keep in mind, he's competing with a +4 Awakened Trunda, a +1 Awakened Mithrala, so maybe not completely fair. However, too, he's built to be a nuker, so take that into consideration. Those numbers do not blow me away, especially considering Mishinaki, you know, also does a ton of damage, but able to get 3 times almost the amount of damage. So when we're looking at this champion for HYDRA, I think, again, this kind of further proves the point that he's best in Relentless, so you can just keep getting those turns in versus trying to min-max all of his damage. But let's face it, this team is full of OP endgame champions. Not everybody has access. You put this dude alongside, more accessible rare and epic champions on easier levels of HYDRA, you're going to see a lot more, yield in terms of dividends, damage, and utility in HYDRA Clan Boss. So what do you think of this monkey, guys? Let me know in the comments below. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.